About It Knitting and Crochet podcast. So this is episode 4. So it has been a long time since I've done one of these. I'll get to why in just a second. But my name is Sam. I use they, them pronouns. I am living in the suburbs of Tokyo, Japan. I live near Tachikawa. I've been knitting for almost a year and crocheting for 3. Woohoo! But so like I was saying just a second ago, it has been a while since I've done this. I think it's 2.5, 3 months, around there. A lot has happened. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. We just got back from a almost month-long trip to the US to visit family. So we were in California, Utah, and Colorado. Yeah, but lots been going on. But so I'm going to be trying out a new format for podcasts. I'm going to be doing little small videos when I can and editing them all together instead of having to sit down and video and do everything for hour and a half, whatever. I think it's going to be easier on me. It'll be easier to keep up with this kind of stuff. But going along with that, I do have a lot of acquisitions to talk about, so I'm going to make a whole separate video on those, just because I'm pretty sure it's going to take me over an hour to go through everything that I bought on this said 3-week trip to the United States. Yeah, but so I will be sharing a lot of finished objects, most of which I actually finished a few months ago. I just haven't gotten around to sharing. And then a few whips that I'm working on. Okay, so these are all FOs from around Halloween. So I had done all of these before Halloween. But so the first one is the Banshee Beanie by Swallow's Nest Handmade. I used Woolies Thick and Quick. Do not know the colors, just black and white. And this is going to be for my toddler because I did the floats a little bit too tight. So they don't fit my head super great. But I mean, this was my first time doing stranded color work, so I'm really not too mad, and it does fit my head, at least partially. But it just keeps kind of sliding up, but that's fine. All in all, I really enjoyed this pattern. I'm probably going to make it again when I'm a little more even with my floats. I still haven't blocked this, and I'm also going to give it a good shave to get all the fluff off the top. But yeah, for stranded color work, I'm really not too mad about it at all, actually. Yeah, my floats aren't super even, and maybe if I block it, it'll be enough for my head. That's something to try at least. But yeah, it was a really quick knit. It didn't take me very long at all. This is the 3rd hat that I've made ever. Because I've never crocheted a hat. I've only knit hats. But yeah, for first stranded color work, I'm pretty happy. I was able to catch all my floats. I was able to make cute little ghosts. I love ghosts. But I'm still deciding if I'm putting a pom on it or not. One thing that I might do is I might crochet a little ghost amigurumi. Stick that ghost on top. Cute would that be? But yeah, so that was fun. Probably for my toddler though. We'll see what happens after I block it. So the second one is I made a witch hat. Whoop. This one fits my head. And it's got a wire in the brim, so I can make it float however I want to. So this one was just drafted by me. I'm probably not going to write up any sort of pattern because it was just for kicks and giggles. I was a witch for Halloween using the next object I'll show you, but this is also Woolies Thick and Quick. Yeah, this one was fun. I finished this in a day, so super fast. crochet. I used, oh, I forgot to mention, I used 10mm needles the whole time. I didn't switch, which also probably would have helped it actually fit my head, but I didn't have any stitch markers that fit 11mm needles. So I just dealt with it. So that's fine. But I used a 9mm hook for this, I believe. So the stitches are pretty tight, but yeah, I really like how this worked out. But so for the rest of my Halloween costume, I'll throw up a little video picture of me there. You might have seen it on my Instagram if you're following me. Which my Instagram is just not underscore about underscore it. I'll put it here. And down in the down in the description too. But is my Halloweb top. It is crochet. I used Hobby Rainbow Cotton. And I did do modifications for these sleeves. The original just has straight sleeves with no decreases, no flare, no nothing. But I wanted the dramatics of a flare. So I made bell sleeves. So I absolutely love how this turned out. I think this is so much fun. I'm going to be wearing this for basically the rest of my life. Yeah, pretty much. The great thing I really loved about this pattern is it's made to measure, so it's literally however big, however small, however long you want it. I've seen people who have made them into tank tops. I've seen people who have made them into dresses. I've seen people do long sleeve, short sleeve, crop sleeve, no sleeve, everything. But yeah, so the sleeve modifications were super easy. I just did a few small decreases here for it to be tight, and then dramatic increases there, and then you can see where I switched colors. I was not supposed to switch colors. I ran out of this slight gray off-white, but I think the black looks great. I think it worked out well. But yeah, so that is by, I don't know if I said, but if it's by Crochetreat. And of course I'll have everything linked down in the description box below. And if I do miss anything, just tell me and I'll add it and message you back on whatever else. I always do try my best to get everything in the description box, but I know sometimes I miss stuff. So don't be afraid to let me know and I'll track it down or write it down or whatever else and get it to you. But I love this. I wore this almost every day in October because it's just so much fun. So much fun. But yes. But so the last Halloween FO I have was a hat that I made for my spouse because they wanted something for Halloween. If you don't know who this is, I'm very sad. But so this is called the Burlap Chap hood for copyright reasons. But it's Oogie Boogie. I made Oogie Boogie. But so this is by the Twisted Hatter. I just use Red Heart yarn. Yeah. But he was super fun to make. I think he looks pretty good. Like I said. So, but yeah, so that is the last of my Halloween finished objects. I know it's been a while, but that's okay. So, as for Christmas finished objects, I did have quite a few. I made 12 snowflakes that I have shown you guys in previous videos that I do not have anymore. Those went with me I gave them to my brother and my sister-in-law for their wedding. Maybe I'll see if they can send me a picture of them on their Christmas tree or something. But so I was able to do several snowflakes for them, which I'm super grateful I was able to do. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but the crochet snowflakes are a tradition in my family. My great-grandmother used to make them, and then my mom used to make them for us, and my mom actually gifted me a set of crochet snowflakes before I started crocheting for my wedding, as a starter set for our Christmas tree. And then my mother has stopped crocheting, but I started. So I told her that I would continue the tradition on, and she gave me the book of snowflakes, which, one second, I'll grab it. Is super, super beat up. 101 Snowflakes. This has been through a lot of life. My mom has been using this book since I was born. And I actually looked it up on Amazon the other day. This book is going for over $1,000 brand new. And I'm like, whew. Yeah. And so when my mom bought this book, it was $16.95, and now it's out of print or something like that, and so the copies are apparently really expensive. I don't know. But yeah, I really appreciate the fact that I was able to do this for my brother and my sister-in-law, and I think they're so much fun. You start them, you make them all pretty, and yeah. I did make that one. I made that one for them. I think that's all the ones on the cover, at least. But yeah, so I made 10 different ones and all. And I have a particular brand of neuroses that means I have to keep track of everything. I have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of lists. And so I have a list of the snowflakes I made, and they are never going to receive the same one twice. Because they're not going to... Let's see, I've got 101 minus 10, 91. So they've got 91 different snowflakes I can make for them left. And they're going to receive a different one until I die. Woohoo, go Christmas. But no, we'll see. I'll make them as long as I enjoy making them. And if I don't enjoy making them, I'm not going to make it. But, yeah. So one of my whips is a crochet blanket that I am working on for my sweetheart. I've got a decent amount done now. But so this is done in linen stitch and moss stitch. It's crochet. I think I'm using a 4mm hook, size 9J, whatever that is. But so the yarn that I'm using is actually stuff that I inherited from his late grandmother. So this is all her yarn that was given to me because she knew that I crochet and knit. But so I'm alternating one row color, one row neutral, one row color, one row neutral, just back and forth and back and forth. And probably my favorite thing about this is that I've got one edge that's all color. You can see there. And then one edge that is all neutral. And so it wasn't on purpose, but it's probably my favorite detail about this blanket that I'm going to mention for the rest of my life, just because I love how it looks. I love it. But so this is it folded in half. It'll just be a nice, let's make sure I don't lose that. There we go. Nice single blanket. But yeah. So this one is both a whip and a FO, but it is my Hexie Puff blanket. It's the Beekeepers Quilt by Tiny Owl Knits. But so these are just little knit Hexie Puffs that I've been doing in scrap yarn. So this one is blue clay yarn, or however you say it. It's whatever that stuff is. On my trip to see family, mom went with me to one of the local yarn stores. She tried to buy one of their sample hats, which she was not allowed to buy said sample hat. But I told her, I'm like, hey, I can make the hat, because she just loved this hat, loved how it looked. But so we bought the yarn, I got the pattern, and I knit her up the hat. I do not have said hat because it is with her back at her house in the United States, not here in Japan. But I've got the extra yarn. So, there. So I'm going to be making little Hexie Puffs with it. But so for Hexie Puffs, while I was on my trip, I finished 8 of them. I think it was 8. Maybe it was 9. But so since I last spoke to you guys, I have finished 10 of them, which brings my total for Hexie Puffs to 31 Hexie Puffs. But so again, I've probably shown these to you guys, but so my favorite is this rainbow, but I also did, where'd it go? This gradient one that I really like. It's got a few little mistakes here and there, but whatever. But look how cute it is. I love the gradient. So this gradient is actually the same gradient that I'm using in my Afra sweater, except the grays will be held with a blue, which I will talk to you guys in a minute. But yeah, so I now have 31 of these Hexie Puffs that I'm going to be using to make a pillow cover. So I'll have 2 pillow covers for 2 pillows and a blanket made out of these. But yeah, so these are using 3.5 millimeter needles, and then most of these are fingering weight yarn. They're not, I don't have them all exactly the same size, but whatever. I just sew the corners together, and then corner together, and then corner together. But so these are super fun. They're super fast. I can knit one of these in an hour. So it is an instant serotonin boost when I'm just knitting in the round, and then I want to finish something, so I pull out one of these. But so you just do it on double pointed needles, so you can see this one that's in progress. It's like a little pocket. But I use scrap yarn to knit these, and then I use more scrap yarn to fill these. But so they're pretty fun. I've been really enjoying them a lot. And like I said, they're fast. Super fast. I do them on the go. I do them out on the train. I do them whenever I need a serotonin boost from sitting and knitting. But I have received a lot of scrap yarn from my local knit group for yarn that they won't use, scraps that they won't use. So like this one, like a lot of these are scrap yarns from my friends. And then they also give me all of their ends and all of their pieces that they need to snip off, because they know that I'll use it. So I've got lots of bags of scrap and lots of bags of not usable, or they don't have any plans for it and they don't want to use it. Yeah, so it's been fun, and I really enjoy knowing that I'm putting the yarn to use when it wouldn't be used otherwise, if that makes sense. And because I've gotten a few skeins of sock yarn that one of my friends had started a project with, and then she just was not having it, was sick of it, didn't enjoy the idea anymore, and she's like, it's just sitting here, please take it. So I took it, and we're gonna make lots and lots and lots of Hexie Puffs, and because I'm going to need several hundred Hexie Puffs in order to do the blanket and both the pillows. So I'm going to be doing Hexie Puffs for the rest of my life. Woohoo! Okay, so one of the whips that I'm working on is the Oh My Figure Dress by Oh My Knits. It's on a very, 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 very small cable right now because I'm using the needles on for the Afra sweater. And so this is teeny tiny little circular. But yeah, here we are. But so this is done in a 2x2 rib, and you can see some of the increases there. But yeah, so this is using Drops Kid Silk. Let's see, color 19. I don't know. It's the dark green. But so yeah, Drops Kid Silk. And then the Go Handmade Tencel Bamboo Double. So I went for the darker mohair with the lighter bamboo, and that's what's coming up. But so I'm really enjoying this one. This one's been super fun, and has been put on a little bit of a hold because I'm working on the Afra sweater. But once I'm done with the Afra sweater, this one will be back on the needles, back where in my actually working on it pile. The fun thing is, so our local knit group is doing a whip along. So starting today, December 21st, solstice. Happy solstice, everyone. To when Sakura here in Japan ends, I believe. So that'll be middle of March-ish. End of March-ish. But yeah, so we're just doing a little knit make along. But specifically entertaining 2 whips. And so finishing whips that we've started working on, long lost whips. My friend who started this has a chronic issue of starting whips and then never finishing them. So this is like, I'm gonna get them done. I'm gonna get them done. But yeah, so that's the Oh My Figure dress. I'm doing a lot. So the pattern is amazing when it comes to sizing and being size inclusive. It's got, I think, I want to say 9 different sizes. And then it has modifications to widen that range and to combine the different sizes if your chest is bigger than the measurement hips for everything else. And so it's been a joy to work with that pattern. And she does a great job, and it's just been really great. Yeah. If I could speak English. But like I said, we landed in Japan yesterday. So I've been in Japan for just over 24 hours again. But it was a great time, but I'm very tired. I did not get very much sleep. But so moving on to the next whip is the Afra sweater. I'm in the middle of a round, but that's okay. But so it is I'm always going to put a picture up when I'm talking about it. But so the picture of the Afra sweater will be up there. And I'm not super far. I haven't joined in the round for it yet, but I'm getting there. So I'm actually going to be doing a fade on this. You can see I've made my way into the second color. Here, I have my swatch. Which the swatch isn't exactly how it's going to be. I've decided to do a little bit more actual fading with it, but this is the basics, where you can see light to dark. So my top will be light, and then you go to the bottom, and it'll be dark on the bottom. And then for the sleeves, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to have the cuff be that same white that's up at the top. Yeah. But so this has been super fun. I'll have a picture right here, but I did make it most of the way down the body before I decided that I didn't like how the color changes were working out. They were too just kind of stripy for me. But so I'm going to be doing, so the way that I'm doing this fade is this is double stranded fingering weight. So it's just held double. And so I was doing, so it's bright, medium, medium blue, slightly darker blue, black blue. And so instead of just switching out the grays each time, I'm gonna alternate between light, medium, da 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 da, and do that kind of fading along with the switching grays, if that makes sense. But I'm hoping it'll create less of a stripy effect and more of an actual fade. And like, 'cause you can see where that direct line is, you can see where that direct line is. But so we'll see how everything goes, but I'm hoping it'll turn out okay. The good news is that with all of that done, it was fitting great. It was fitting really well. I'll put a picture, maybe. We'll see. But so I restarted. I frogged it all the way back to there. And then, yeah. But so I'm got that much. It's not bad, but it's not close yet, but that's okay. This pattern has been very fun. It's been very simple to follow along, and once you get, it's all of the repeats are just 2-line repeats, and so it's really easy to get the hang of it. And so I was doing a lot of knitting on the plane, actually, for as much as I can while I've got my 2 toddlers that you gotta look out for. But it's really easy to follow along. It's really simple, and I just keep track. So these are this is my row repeat right now that I'm working on. I've got my tally mark of how many times I've done it on the back. Because I'm a very analog person, especially when it comes to patterns. I don't like doing it from my phone. I like having it written down where I can do this. But yeah. But so the yarn that I'm using for this is I'm using Lane and Lotus Fiber Co. I'm using the gradient from them. There's 5 different colors. Not 100% sure which one is which, because I've got, but so there's Silver Lining, Shadow, I imagine that's the black one, Ghost Train, New Moon, and Ashes to Ashes. And then the blue here is actually one that's super special to me. So the blue, this one here, it's called Lyra, and it's from Hypothesis Yarns. And the reason that it's so special to me is that's my daughter's name. So yeah, I bought this yarn when we had her name picked out. And yeah, I just love it so very much. So it's one that I personally really just love. Yeah, but so with the double, I'm using, I think these are 4mm, 4.5mm. The pattern calls for 4, but my gauge is always so tight that I went up half a needle, half a millimeter size. Yeah, that is the Afra sweater and the bigger dress. And well, my friends, that is all that I have to share with you guys for today. I was going to share one more thing, but I can't find it. So I've got a work in progress that's missing. I was going to share with you the Slanty Stripes tank that I shared a couple episodes back. It was for my trip to Kyoto. I was going to be working on it soon after I'd finished the Afra sweater. I was going to go Afra sweater, Slanty Stripes, dress for order of whips. But if I can't find it, then I can't work on it. So we'll see if I can find it. But that's okay. I'll figure it out eventually. Our house is small enough that there's not much room for it to hide. But I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. I know sometimes it's hard. But thank you for watching. If there is anything you would like to see, anything you would like to know, anything you would like me to go find in Japan, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I probably don't have too much footage to share after today. I've got a little bit, but probably not lots. With my diagnosis, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing bad, it's mostly just annoyances, it's mostly, they have no cure, so it's just dealing with symptoms, and these symptoms can be a pain in my ass. But so I'm just taking it one day at a time, and I'm trying to be in the moment rather than worrying about being behind my phone. But so you should be seeing a video of me here in the next little bit talking about all my new yarn. I've got lots and lots and lots of new yarn that I'm so excited about. So that'll include all the stuff that I got since recording last, because there's a little bit from there, all the yarn that I got in the United States, and then the advent calendar that I got, and then anything since, which I've got some notions, I've got a book, I've got everything else. But yeah, so hopefully by the next time that I see you guys, I will have found this missing project, and hopefully I will be well on my way to completing something. But yeah, so I'll be wishing you a happy solstice, I'll be wishing you a happy new year, and I'll be seeing you guys soon. Bye!